Now, we have been talking about TV for the longest of time. I think we have had some fascinating and successful shows over the years, but agar koi ek show hai which has been literally in the forefront of a lot of things, that's Taarak Mehta ka Ooltah Chashmah. I think sab log ne suna hai. Please, can you just at least validate कि आप लोग ने सुना है कि नहीं शो के बारे में? सबको जेठालाल वाले मीम्स पसंद है कि नहीं? क्या बात है, वो जो दया भाभी का वो जो डांस होता है गरबा, वो सबने किया है कि नहीं मिरर के सामने? क्या बात है. So this session is going to be about Taarak Mehta ka Ooltah Chashmah. It's a lovely session. For that, may I please call upon stage Mansi, Darbar, Media and Entertainment Advisor. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. To join her on stage, may I please call upon stage Harjeet Chhabra, CEO, Neela Film Productions Private Limited. The man behind Taarak Mehta ka Ooltah Chashmah. Ladies and gentlemen, zor se taaliyan. The stage is all yours. Please go ahead.
This is working. नमस्कार, मैं हूं मानसी दरबार और आप सबका स्वागत है टीवी समिट 2022 बाय IWMBuzz में। आज हम यहां पे एक ऐसे शो के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं जिसका 2008 से सिर्फ राइज और राइज और राइज ही होता जा रहा है। हे माँ माता जी, जी हाँ, हम बात कर रहे हैं तारक मेहता उल्टा चश्मा के बारे में, which is produced by Neela Film Productions and broadcasted on Sony Sub. So please give a big round of applause to Mr. Harjeet Chhabra, CEO, Neela Film Productions. Hello, Harjeet.
Hi. I think this applause should go to one and only Mr. Asit Modi. We'll talk about it when we get into detail. But the show has been alive purely for the passion of one guy, Mr. Modi. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. The show's got him busy beyond what he could imagine. So he's traveling. So we'll talk about what really, has gone behind the show as we progress.
Absolutely. We miss you, Asit bhai. आप ये recording बाद में देखेंगे तो. हरजीत, आप सबसे पहले तो ये बताइए कि तारक मेहता has been running for over 14 years now, right? तो इसका राज क्या है? Why is it such a sort of hot favorite among the audiences?
See, 2007 was when we started the show. It wasn't that big then when it started. It was on a small channel. Then Sub was a small channel, and I was on the other side. I was part of the management team on Sub, and I used to drive marketing and distribution. It wasn't that big a show, but I think somewhere the heart of the show was in the right place, which is why I started with saying that, the entire credit goes to one guy who's lived the dream of making this show. You look at what he's done, the way he put the show together, the way he lived the show. For the last 15 years, he hasn't made anything else. So this show would not have been possible if he was doing 10 shows, 5 shows. That guy has been doing one show. So from thinking about whom to cast for Taarak Mehta, that guy should be a poet in real life. Whom to cast for Daya. So Disha Wakhani was not a known face. So to spend time, energy, sit through castings, sit through scripts, till today, I see him, he goes through each and every bit of screenplay and dialogues to say, okay, I feel this is right or this should not happen. In 15 years, you would imagine that anything that we are doing, we'll say, okay, great, I have a B team, and now they know. But, when we see him work, he's still hands-on. So I think somewhere a large part of credit goes to him. But beyond that, I think, we never know. When we start making a show, nobody says कि चलो एक show बनाते हैं जो 15 साल चलेगा. Nobody says that. You just start making a show. Actually, nobody knows कि 15 दिन भी चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा. There are shows that I have seen getting folded in a month's time. But somewhere I think the love of people has kept it going. Because, this is an unprecedented event. 15 साल किसी show का चलना, it's unprecedented. Why I'm saying there are people who have passed away, who were part of the show. It does not happen with shows usually. There's been an audience bond with those actors. We've replaced them after a long time because there was a need to, but we also stayed without those actors for a long time. There are people who've got married, they've had kids, they had to leave the show. Today also, just to share with you, for example, Daya is not part of the show, but the kind of comments we get from people, and it's purely their love that, you know, I'm trying to highlight here. They say, take 2 more years, but get her only. So that's how they feel about the show. So I think what keeps it going, it's purely the love from the audience that has kept it on for so long.
So, Harjeet, as we know, you've been around for a very, very long time, right? Like you said, कि आपने shows 15 दिन में भी rap होते हुए देखे हैं, और ये तो 15 साल चल रहा है, right? So, in such a competitive market, जहाँ पे, इतने shows आए, गए, और, नए, पुराने, in such a market, what are the challenges, of course, that you faced, to make sure that the show is, number one, is still so popular, is still resonating with the audiences?
So, see, in creative business, typically most of the calls that work I have seen are gut calls. A couple of sessions before, Mr. Kapoor was on the table, on the stage. Mr. Anuj Kapoor, who's now with Dangal. He was the guy behind bringing back sub in the way it is known today, or rather it was known for a while back. So most of the times, what makes a good show is gut of the creator. The creator needs to believe that, I have a story to tell and I know there is an audience for it. Beyond that, then it is absolutely the sincerity of the team with which you put it together. If you're in it for business, then you don't care because ek show band hoga, so I'll get another show from the platform. That kind of mentality will also keep you going for years in this business. But I think, I come back to Mr. Modi, the way I have seen him, he actually lived with this concept for 4 years because before Sony said yes to it. Before Sony said yes to it, it's not that he had an idea and he walked in and they said, okay, great, chalo kal se banate hain. No, he lived with it for 4 years in his head, saying, I want to make this show. And not too many people backed him. Ki, okay, let's make it. It was purely his belief, his conviction. Today also, if there is a casting to be done, he gets involved. So I think those are the things, if the creator is not involved, nothing will, I mean, you look at Apple, for example, it's purely one guy's vision and aspiration, kind of things that he's done. I don't want to talk about it in detail right now, but from a tech perspective, when he told his tech head a few things, they said this is not possible. And then they later realized that they could achieve it. So the point is, unless the creator is pushing for excellence, it is not going to come on table.
So, very often I've sort of read this and, I've heard it and I've, had conversations with people, all creators and content creators, when they talk about creating a masterpiece, they say that, how did you, create this? And one answer that they get, which you just said, that, it was a, gut feeling, right? It was an instinct. So do you think, because you've also been, on the content creation side, production, you've also been on, of course, the marketing, the broadcast, TV side. So do you think that content creation is actually driven by gut instinct, or actually data drives it once it's, broadcasted?
See, for platforms, they have to back their calls. So they have data that helps them. Netflix uses it to recommend. Netflix uses it to select shows. There's nothing wrong with it, but a creator never uses data to actually draft a story. The story comes out of heart. I want to tell a story of a guy who's been through X, Y, Z and achieved something. Now that cannot be a calculative measure because it will then show up on the screen. So platforms can select because they get dime a dozen proposals. So for them, they need to have a model to say, I will select this and reject this. Which is why when you go back, you see actors refusing a film and the film doing great. Platforms refusing a show and the show doing great. These kind of stories are so common and popular, but somewhere it is always so when I'm saying gut also, so it's not, a whimsical creator. When I say gut comes from a lot of experience. Gut comes from a lot of understanding of the audience, a lot of understanding of, the cultural values that your audience is rooted in. So gut comes from that I believe if I tell a story like this, there is an audience. Now you can go wrong, but then you learn from it and again that improves your gut. It is a data, but a data of a different kind. I don't know if you guys have read a book called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a very interesting thing which says that, usually and it talks about human beings. We as human beings like something in the blink of an eye. And that's all it takes for us to like or dislike something, either or. It goes both ways. And then what we are doing after that blink of an eye is just justifying what our brain has already liked or not liked. So it's usually gut, but then we are looking for data, rationale to say, oh great, I believe this is good for so and so reason. So yes, people who are blessed with good gut always, because the data would not have told Steve Jobs that make a phone which cannot be opened, which has no home button. So these things, or rather which has just one button. These are purely, creative instinct calls.
तो मैं आपको बता दूं कि तारक मेहता का उल्टा चश्मा is not only the most popular show on linear, which is TV पे, but also on non-linear, on internet. It's the most watched show. So Harjeet, what is the strategy behind this? कि मतलब TV पे तो छा ही रहा है 15 साल से, और अब internet, digital platforms पे भी छा रहा है तारक मेहता.
As I said, I think this huge debate always, TV versus internet versus. We strongly believe today these are the same shows that are working on internet. Today, if you look at a Big Boss on television, that's what I feel is driving Woot. Otherwise as well, as an app. Most of the Star Plus daily shows are what is driving consumption of Hotstar, apart from cricket. So shows well made will have an audience everywhere. I think audience see it as an opportunity to catch a linear TV versus a non-linear platform. That, oh, I missed it, I can catch it here also. And over a period, it becomes a habit that I don't have to be sitting there in front of the TV at this time. I can watch it on the same TV, but at the time I choose to watch. If the show is good, there is an audience for it. People are traveling, busy with lives, they can catch up. I know of people who watch Taarak Mehta on 1.5x speed. It's purely because they're used to watching it. So they watch at 1.5x speed because मेरे को देखना है लेकिन time नहीं है. So technology enables, and this is how people make use of it. So somewhere, one good thing about Taarak is that it has also surprised us in terms of the love that people give. If I tell you, Amazon has a device called Alexa, and it is not that well penetrated in India, but there is a decent penetration of Alexa. And Amazon happened to release a report of Alexa usage last year. And their story on Economic Times said that every 1 minute, there is a request to play Taarak Mehta ka Ooltah Chashmah on Alexa. So most of the people who have Alexa on television or Fire Stick, every 1 minute there is a request. And this is an Amazon report. I don't have that data beyond. They only published one line saying, and this beats any other show in the country. Every 1 minute somebody is asking for Alexa to play. That's one. YouTube releases a report every year on top shows on YouTube. Taarak Mehta is the only show to feature in the top 10 list of YouTube videos. Only TV show. No TV show has ever made it. So again, I'm saying it's only the love of people that has made the show go on and on. And I think it has made Mr. Modi more responsible. He's more scared of putting anything out because he knows there are people watching. He goes to an airport or he goes to a club, there are people who catch him if there is something wrong with the episode. So he has to make sure that he's responsible enough with the show of this stature right now.
Harjeet, you made a very, very, very sharp point there in your last, answer when you said कि, Taarak Mehta ka Ooltah Chashmah hai. It's not only sort of, we believe that, what is driving internet is also driving TV. Right? But for a very long time, since streaming has come in India in the last sort of few recent years, we always think कि नहीं streaming के लिए content अलग है और TV के लिए अलग है और दोनों की strategy अलग है और they actually contrast. So do you believe, like you said, that actually the content which we see on TV, which we've grown up watching on TV when streaming was not around, is also contributing significantly to the streaming growth?
See, for any product to succeed, you have to form habits. One of things are not habit forming. You have to form habits. I am used to going to theater to watch a film. If films come once in 3 months, it is not habit forming. There is a film every weekend, so it is habit forming. Anything and everything would work only if it is habit forming. Now, for us to create that volume of content on OTT immediately is not possible. So with fresh content, you cannot really form habits. So for people to come to your platform on a regular basis, why does IPL work? Because it's a daily thing. You know, why does an English Premier League work? Because it's every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's habit forming. You know, Friday आ गया, एक beer का glass लेके मेरे को football देखना है. So that is habit forming. So right now, television content is also being used by OTT players to build the habit of coming to their OTT platforms. Otherwise, as I said, I don't believe in this debate because there is an audience which is not watching linear TV, and that audience today is happy to consume limited series on internet. So we must make those limited series, and also the good thing with limited series is that they have a better quality. They are not made in pressure of a daily show. Here we are shooting in the morning and you have to air by night or the next day. A limited series is made with a lot more involvement, time at hand, so you can match international standards that you can't do with television show. So it's somewhere, you know, we must make those kind of stories as well. When it was COVID, everybody had a lot of time, so we watched every possible series. If you see now and rewind 5 months back, you might have missed 70% of the series actually. So now for people to spend 8 hours watching a series, it has to be that good. I think, you know, now it's not that easy to get an audience for a web series as well. So you need to be that good. And if you have time in hand, you better be good.
Coming to our last question that, you know, so how has Taarak evolved, you know, as an IP, right? Are there any expansion plans and what is the evolvement plan?
I think we definitely are greedy when it comes to the IP at Taarak. But unfortunately, you know, we live in a country, and I'm saying this on a platform, but we live in a country where, you know, IP exploitation has never happened because that ecosystem of IP exploitation does not exist. Very simply because every time a creator goes to a platform, the platform takes away all the IP. So, and the platform does not have an IP division. So they don't bother exploiting the IP unless they want to make a season 2 of the same show. So an ecosystem where IPs are exploited beyond content does not exist. So while we've been thinking about this for a long time, we've done nothing. But now we are taking the IP beyond. 4 years back, we launched an animation show, which was a spin-off of Taarak Mehta, which is called Taarak Mehta Ka Ooltah Chashmah. A couple of weeks back, we've launched 2 more verticals, which is Taarak Mehta Ka Ooltah Chashmah Rhymes Bal Geet, which is aimed at toddlers, which is doing very well on OTT platforms and YouTube right now. We also have a tech arm now of Neela, which has ventured into gaming. And we have extended the IP into gaming, and we are working on games of all kinds, whether it's casual, hyper casual, might surprise you, but we're working with real money games as well. And we're working on HTML5 games as well. So we have a pretty serious ambition when it comes to gaming. And the reason we are doing it is because we believe that the brand resonates well with the digital audience, resonates really well with the digital audience. We've got, on our own platform, we've got 500 million views on a monthly basis. So that's decent enough to give us the courage to do something for the digital audience. So gaming is shaping up in an interesting way, and I think by next October it should be a full-fledged entity.
Wow, that's commendable. So with this, we've come to the end of our fireside chat. But जाने से पहले हरजीत, मेरी एक छोटी सी request है, you know, for the audience seated out there, आप हमें आपका कोई बहुत ही favorite dialogue तारक चश्मा से please सुनाएंगे क्या? Please give a round of applause.
Mansi said she's gonna do Daya's Garba. You changed mind.
Yeah, I just did.
So I have one thing to say, hey Ma Mataji.
Hey Ma Mataji. On this note, please give a very, very big round of applause to Harjeet and Neela Film Pictures and Taarak Mehta Ka Ooltah Chashmah, which has been entertaining us for 15 years on the big screen. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you, IWMBuzz, Siddharth and the entire team. Thank you very much.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि सर आप लोग डांस करो या ना करो, वो पोस्ट तो कर दो दया बहन का वो वहाँ पे फोटोग्राफर्स के लिए. May I please call upon stage Franklin Toscano, CTO and founder, IWMBuzz Media Network, for the token of appreciations. क्या बात है? फोटोज मिस नहीं होनी चाहिए, वो प्रॉपर फ्रेम में लगेगा.